at this organization, we have millions and millions and millions of bank accounts that we hold in our infrastructure as a core banking provider. So, in the security realm, we have to protect all of those accounts with all of those transactions. We have to protect money movement throughout the organization. So certainly, if this organization was to be compromised, it would be a pretty large problem. And it doesn't just affect us as an organization, it affects our clients, which are financial institutions, and then it obviously affects the end user, which, could be grandma or grandpa, or could be a business that have, their money, right? You don't want someone um, waking up one morning and having no money in their bank account, right? So it's a very critical component of the organization for that protection. And then you concern yourself with certainly the protecting the livelihood of others. So having a breach is terrible, and definitely has kept me up at nights some days. We had a need from one of our board members had asked that we do like an adversarial engagement against our organization. So how do we know that we're protected against threats? Just doing vulnerability scanning and penetration testing isn't really testing if someone can get through our perimeter, or testing some of our controls beyond our perimeter. And so we found StackTitan back then, and we engaged in a relationship, and they did our first adversarial engagement, which was no notice. No one in the organization knew that it was occurring. And we gave them, carte blanche to do what they wanted to get through our perimeter, and then see where they could go in our environment from that point. It was also a really great opportunity for us to test our security operations center response to these sort of things, right? So when we see someone, a bad guy on the outside doing things that's, maybe not the best, we really rely on our security operations center to identify that activity, report on that activity, block that activity. So it was a really great first engagement that we started off on. It really gave us a lot of lessons learned out of that, of where we needed to improve, especially on our response time from our operations center. And then, of course, some internal controls. We identified where we were doing things well and where we had some areas of improvement. And so we liked the engagement so much that we decided that every year we're going to do an engagement like that, maybe with sort of different goals or things that we give them to achieve, such as, okay, see if you can compromise one of our crown jewel assets, or a high value application that we run here at the organization. So the relationship started off like that, and they've continued to do adversarial engagements for us. And then we've started to branch into them helping us with our application security, testing some of our application security. And financial services, that's really, really important to make sure that individuals' banking information is protected. And so StackTitan has really helped us to make sure our application's up to par. Yeah, I think for me, coming into an organization that was new, I just didn't know. It was just the complete unknown. I didn't know the history of how security had been implemented in the organization, or what the priorities were for security, or certainly some of the controls that we had in place. And being able to have StackTitan come in and test those controls gave me a much better idea of where I needed to spend my time focusing. So out of the engagements that we had, I realized that I needed to spend less time focusing on one thing and more time focusing on other things, such as, all the access that my administrators have, and what sort of lateral access could an attacker get, or the fact that maybe there's a lot of information out in our environment with loose access controls, those sorts of things. So it really helped me prioritize, where to focus our efforts from a security perspective.